Forgot to reattach my mic after filming, I guess. Okay. Uh-oh. I too am glad I'm back. I've come to depend on these streams to keep me sane. Although, it looks like we may have to come up with perhaps some other pastime for today's event. We'll see. This is a problem I've not encountered before. On this computer with this game, at least. And my camera wasn't working either, so I had to use another one. And it's not picking up my light properly, so kind of looks like I'm not using the light at all. It's fucking amateur hour here. Woo! Cat's Bagels. Hello. Where's the repair option? Sorry, y'all can't see what I'm doing. Properties, maybe? No. How? Yes, it just wouldn't be Bethesda, would it? Let's see. Is it in the library that you can repair the game? It's not right click. That's not doing anything for me. Delete the files. Okay, let's just try and pull it up again. I don't see the option, the repair game option, which is a real shame. We shall strive once more. If it doesn't work and it's a ranting stream, yep. I showed my wife the Edward Cullen video you did. Now I'm being subjected to the whole series. I'm so sorry. Try to, lean back and try to enjoy it. There's stuff to appreciate in there, I promise. It's so goofy and so cringe, but in such a sincere way, And like, the more time goes by, the more like charmed I am by just how just crash out popular it was, that everybody knew Twilight. Even like it was a gendered property, most certainly, but like you couldn't avoid it. That's the kind of thing that we just don't really get anymore. It's really strange. What's the last like huge giant franchise? What do you think? Marvel, I guess. It's okay to laugh at it. I won't be mad. Yeah, that's the way. Yes, you should go into Twilight. Being prepared to laugh at yourself. every time you like, every time something happens that makes you think, oh, you know, it's absolutely silly. And I don't think it's self-consciously silly, but I think it would be ruined if it were self-consciously silly. It can be, it can only be sincere. You know, I go on a whole, a big part of this, a big part of this video I'm working on has to do with B movies and the role that a B movie plays in a culture and in a film industry. And they really can only be sincere, you know? So this like irony plague that we're in right now, where like no movie can exist without like a, you know, a nudge and a chuckle to how self-aware they are. It's like it's okay to do that for even most of your industry. I was going to say some, but I'd go so far as to say that most of your industry can be you know, this kind of like can survive under irony poison. But there's gotta be some sector of any art industry that is unapologetically sincere, and I feel we lack that right now. Scott through New Moon, the werewolves offended me so bad. Alright, is she making you read the books also? Or just making you watch the movies? Because the comparison between the two is pretty interesting, I think. Twilight TV show adaptation imminent. I'm kind of surprised it hasn't happened yet. Sort of interesting that it hasn't happened yet. Oh, you watched the first episode of The Terror. What the fuck did I witness? I don't know. I feel like episode one at least is a fairly normal show. What did you think? Yes, the role B movie has no B. Yes. I love how we're still hyperfixating on B movies and we still don't have the video. The video's essentially done. I'm gonna put it on Patreon maybe Wednesday, certainly Thursday, and then release it on Saturday. Saturday is my release day now and forever. So if I miss a deadline, a Saturday deadline, it's rolling over the next Saturday. That's just how things are gonna go. I missed several self-imposed deadlines for this video, but it did get done. So, you know, still trying to get into this whole professional accountability racket. I can't recommend it. It's not fun, but gotta do your job, I guess. Okay, I don't I know for a fact that there is a repair game option on Steam, and I want to find that before I just call it and do something else to stream. Okay, let's see. Right click, properties, local file, browse local file. Oh my god. Under game properties, verify integrity of game files. No, okay. Verify integrity of game files. Okay, there we go. Like the Fourth Wing book now. It's a juggernaut in the niche where it exists, where the praise is about how earnest it is, about its power fantasy, but so is criticism. It must be quite a niche. I don't think I've even heard of the, what was it? The Fourth Wing? The fourth Wing. Let's see. The Fourth Wing is a new adult fantasy is new adult. What? Oh, 18 to 29 age bracket. Oh man, that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about a new bracket, a transitional bracket between young adult and what? Wait, no. Oh, but yeah, between young adult and adult. I don't know about that. I don't think I like that. I think that speaks to some kind of sort of progressive failure in literacy. That's not good. 29-year-olds should be able to read just as well as like people in their 40s. But that's a publishing thing. That has nothing to do with this series in particular. It may very, very well be really good. I like young adult fiction. Empyrean series. Well, apparently it's being a made into show, so I'm sure I'll find out all about it very soon. Seeing the clips of new Superman, look, it's going for all goofs. That's okay with me. I think it's God, I look so red today. That's wild. I got a little sunburn last week, not that bad. My lighting's all off. One file failed to validate and will be reacquired. The free market has spoken. I feel like if you fail to launch a franchise as badly as DC failed to launch its extended universe, you don't get to try again. You know? Fuck that. God, this sucks. What a shit industry. One file failed to validate and will be reacquired. What does that mean, though? Do I have to do anything? What's that mean? Let's get out of Steam and reopen it. The acting and set pieces are great. The dialogue is funny because it's authentic, maybe. Yeah, keep going. I recommend The Terror. Wow, it's good. Okay, let's verify integrity of these game files once more. James Gunn is all goose for the first 2 acts, and then for the 3rd act he drops all pretenses but puts his heart on the screen. Yeah. I'm a big fan of James Gunn. He's a very good director. Hi, Spooky Teeth. Stream your editing software process. No, spoil the whole video. B-movie usually means low budget, right? Yes. Yes, it does. It's low budget and also some other stuff. Like, it's not like every movie that's made with a low budget is a B movie. You know, there's plenty of, like, you know, completely shoestring movies that make it into or that are made for and additionally make it into the sort of highbrow regard, I guess. You know, most independent movies are made with the budget you might expect from a B movie. They're not necessarily synonymous. So for me, a B movie, and I think this is like whatever. I haven't looked up, you know, how various scholars define B movies, because it very much seems like kind of a one of those, you know it when you see it type situations. It's like a particular meeting between low budget and kind of and disregard for taste, you know, like to being in poor taste is like half the point of a B movie. They're supposed to be kind of embarrassing. Yeah, It seems like it's working now. Let's try. Not gonna lie, someone who didn't finish college and reads in a language that is not his mother tongue, I can't believe a lot of Americans can't read past Huckleberry Finn. Oh, I think Huckleberry Finn is probably a bit of a challenge for some people right now. Uh-oh. Conjuring 1 is good. I like it. It's up here before the game. You may be perpetually here before the game because the game has crashed every time I pulled it up. Oh, we'll give the channel a shout out on stream. How should I do it? I have no idea because I'm apparently not playing the game. So I don't know. However, I don't know you very well, Peter. So I can't say I can't speak to what brings you here. So I suppose you should talk about what brings you here. Velocipaster is a B movie in a way that Before Sunset isn't. Yeah. Go Pacers? No. You're at perfect liberty to cheer for the Pacers, and I'm at perfect liberty to deny your delusion. Where do you read scholarly articles about movies and stories? Google Scholar's like a maze. Yeah, I never use Google Scholar. It's always JSTOR. And JSTOR and my university library online. Every now and then I'll go to whatever university is in the city I'm currently living in. I'll go there and do some walk amongst the stacks, but it's always JSTOR for me, which you can't access unless you have either some kind of university affiliation or you pay for a membership. So it's kind of fucked. Shouldn't be that way. Shouldn't be so hard to get access to scholarly articles. It's really stupid. Growing in a country where they still use the old rating system, I got chewed out by my dad for watching a B movie. I got punished again for watching Waterworld. So there you go. Waterworld, not a B movie. Way too expensive. Really bad, not a B movie. I hate Google Scholar's UI. That's another reason. The original Evil Dead kind of fits that description. The original Evil Dead, I don't know the specifics about the original Evil Dead to speak to whether it would qualify, but offhand, I would say it does, yeah. The original Friday the 13th also, for sure. Is The Room a B movie? Yes. 1000% The Room is a B movie. Don't they assign you Huckleberry Finn in middle school? They assigned me Huckleberry Finn in middle school, but shit may have changed. It is hard to say. Middle school was a long time ago for me. If it's in good taste, it's an indie movie. If it's in poor taste, it's a B movie. Pretty much, yeah. The basketball game. I'm gonna be honest, part of the reason I'm not, as upset as I would otherwise be about the game continuing to crash is that this means that I can probably pull the game up and have it on the background while I talk. Yeah, unfortunately the Fallout games are held together by staples and paper clips. Yeah, staples and paper clips and faith. Hopefully Oklahoma loses. See, the wonderful thing about the Thunder is that they will seemingly win and lose regardless of of what you think or why. If you think they've got it in the bag, they'll lose. And if you think there's no way they can possibly pull this off, they absolutely do. It's great. I'm here to talk shit on movies, to distract from my work while having Johnny Guitar play in the background personally. That's a good reason. Maybe I should just pull up Johnny Guitar. Getting back into Thomas Ligotti and want to read more short, weird fiction. Ooh, I have a recommendation for you, but I can't remember what his goddamn name is. I know him as the author who was kicked out of BYU for his short stories. Short stories are so disturbing that Brian Evenson, I think that's it. Yeah, he was a professor at BYU, and he got kicked out of the university. He got fired as a professor. Yeah, Brian Evenson. While teaching at BYU, Evenson was involved in a controversy surrounding his first book, Altman's Tongue. While a new professor of creative writing at BYU, Brian Evenson published Altman's Tongue, which included scenes of violence such as characters who are forced to eat mutilated tongues and who attempt to cut off their own limbs. Blah, 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 blah. A graduate student complained anonymously to church leaders that the work promoted the, quote, enjoyment of violence, while Evenson argued that his fiction accentuated violence to show its horror and thus allow it to be condemned. A senior faculty member planned to tell church authorities that Evenson knew that future similar publications would bring repercussions, even though Evenson had not said this. So he resigned. Pretty interesting. Anyway, it's a pretty good book. Yeah, reading's fun. Reading's fun, and it's a real problem with the way that we consume information right now. That like it rewires your brain. You know, you can't scroll through TikTok for 3 hours a day, 7 days a week, and not become accustomed to a certain kind of, you know, of information processing that is not the same as the one that you use when you're reading a book. I find it, personally a lot more difficult to get back into sticking with fiction if I've been extremely online lately, you know. Email the person that wrote it. They would probably gladly send you the PDF. That is absolutely true. Yeah, Hampton, if you really, really want to read an article and you just can't get past whatever 60, 120, fucking $180 paywall that's in front of you, just literally email the professor directly, and they will more often than not be absolutely thrilled that somebody wants to actually read their stuff. Wouldn't the performance/reception of a movie be more of an indicator of whether it's a B movie or not, regardless of how much money was put into it? No, it would not. Because, again, a B movie and a bad movie are not synonymous. It's just not the same thing. That, like, B movies are a function of their existing in a culture, a particular hierarchy of taste, you know. What the upper classes are into at any given point is usually completely different from what the lower classes are into, or from what at least is considered by broader, like, culture as a whole to be assumed what the lower classes are into. Like, the reality is that everybody sees B movies, you know, or at least, like, extremely broad sectors of a culture will go see B movies such that it functionally is mainstream, but we pretend it's not mainstream regardless. Yeah, reception has nothing to do with whether a movie is a B movie or not. Uh-oh. My chat froze. Shit. That's not good. I think I'm gonna... Yep. I'm gonna miss a bunch of chats. Sorry. I'm about 2 minutes behind on my chat, so I'll make big budget B movies called Marvel and DC. Truly, I think there's a it really fucking sucks. Everything that Disney produces right now, except for maybe like Andor, like, the quality of the filmmaking and the financial investment that go into those movies are so completely disconnected that there's something a little bit obscene about it. There's something a little bit like really gross about it, because that like their quality is B movie quality, but hundreds of millions of dollars they're using to make this shit happen, you know? So it's like fucked up our, I mean, I don't know, it's probably more of a symptom than a cause, but we definitely do have a fucked up kind of landscape of figuring out what the dominant taste is supposed to be, you know? And I think that that's, I think that shit, I forgot what I was going to say. I got distracted by the chat. Oh yeah, I think that the sort of automatic presumption is that that's a good thing, right? That like it's actually a good thing. I'm gonna make my window bigger here, as long as there's nothing on the screen. That like it's actually a good thing that we don't have a hierarchical taste structure. That like I think that would be the sort of like knee-jerk assumption of what one might expect from an anarchist such as myself, who doesn't believe in hierarchies. But like, I mean, even anarchists don't reject all hierarchies. The hierarchies that anarchy rejects is like illegitimate hierarchies that weren't agreed upon by the collective as a whole. And there is nothing that that the collective as a whole agrees upon more evidently than cultural taste, you know? And so the fact that we have no kind of anchor for what our taste as a culture is right now, such that all of these multi-million-dollar movies can get made and received as functionally B movies, but not have a sort of concordant financial input is like, ugh, that's a bad sign, I think, you know? Yeah, How to Train Your Dragon Remake. God, oh my God. Oh God, that shit bums me out so hard, you know? Shot for shot, that shit. Like, why, how much does that movie cost? Let's find out. Yeah, I mean, like, I went and saw Lilo and Stitch with a friend, and their 2-year-old. It was his first movie. Oh my God, $150 million went into How to Train Your Dragon, the remake. Oh, let's see with Lilo and Stitch, how much did that cost? Because that shit looked like a Disney original movie, you know, like that they would put on. Oh my God, that the guy who drops his ice cream in the new Lilo and Stitch just died. Fuck. But yeah, that shit looked like a Disney original. It looked like the kind of shit that Disney Channel would air, you know. $100 million! Jesus fucking Christ! So anyway, I went and saw Lilo and Stitch with this friend and their 2-year-old, who's his first movie, and afterwards I was talking about it with her, and she was like, well, you know, she was trying to give it the benefit of the doubt, and she was like, well, I guess it's like kind of nice that, you know, as long as they're not fucking it up too bad, that like you can sort of experience the same thing as like it was when you were a kid and you watched Lilo and Stitch for the first time. And I like, what I said was, I don't think kids movies should be for us. You know, you're taking your 2-year-old to this movie. Your 2-year-old should not have to, you know, have his first movie experience be this, like, you know, warmed over IP from when we were kids, from when his mother was a child. That's not good. That's not good. Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon making money is a disaster for cinema. Yeah, I remember there was like a rumor that Disney was gonna like back off from the remakes because Snow White did so bad, but no. No, these made money, so I guess that's not happening anymore. By the way, Hampton says, yeah, podcast stream finally. I'm gonna be, me and my good friend Gus Jiff, screenwriter Gus Jiff, who wrote the best episode of Big Mouth last season. are going to be recording the first episode of our new podcast this Sunday. So that should be fun. Maybe it'll be out by, I don't know, mid-July. I think we'll probably try and record a few in a row. But the podcast, I think I've talked about it here, but I will mention it again, announce it again, I guess. That so the podcast is going to be us comparing and contrasting movies and their remakes. And talking about the sort of cultural context around them when they initially came out, and now the sort of industrial context, what went into them, what they changed, what they didn't change. It's going to be called Once More with Feeling, so that should be out soonish. Anarchy rejects imposing hierarchies undemocratically. Exactly. Yes. Fair. I'm gonna probably pull up a browser here and get something on the screen to talk about. The game, at least. All that money just spent just for them to look like a PS3 game. I know, and it's also just like, it's so insulting to the. I'm sure this is a podcast spoiler, because I fully intend to talk about this at length on the podcast. But like, it's so unbelievably insulting to the artistry of animation, you know. Like, I understand that CG is a different kind of animation, but that's not how Disney is approaching this. Like, the entire conceit, passively at least, of the Disney remakes is that they're improving upon it, you know, like that we're gonna make the Lion King the way that it was always meant to be, right? And no, no, that's not the case. Well, wouldn't it be great if Lilo and Stitch were live action? Then we could see it the way it was meant to be, from the way the creators imagined it. Because the creators wouldn't imagine things in terms of animation style. That would be silly. We all have to reconfigure our subjectivity of the world in a way that accurately matches everything, molecule to molecule in real life. And that's just a fundamentally anti-art position to have. I hate it so much. And you start a legitimate boycott of the creative deficit going on in Hollywood. I'm so serious. Oh, it's happening. Don't worry. It's just gonna result in a slow decline of the American film industry, and a subsequent rise of other people's industries. And we won't notice until it's already done. Acolyte and Obi-Wan were $250 million a piece. Yikes. First movie I ever watched was Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron. That's a banger movie. Super banger soundtrack and score. I'm gonna make them like they used to. Just watch Lilo and Stitch. I know. Microwave movies. Lilo and Stitch propagates imperialist, anti-indigenous sentiments. The new one certainly fucking does. I'd argue that the original is quite good about its it's a tepid addressing of indigeneity, but for 2004, or what I think it was 2004 when Lilo and Stitch came out, it was like pretty sensitive and good in that way. The new one is like quite bad, actually, in its disrespect of Hawaiian culture and the lives of indigenous people, and especially the lives of indigenous people who are in poverty. Lilo and Nani are in poverty, and I think the original does a much better job of respecting that position and giving it dignity than the new one does. Millennials are coping with the end of the world by watching an endless string of baby movies. Wow. Goddamn. I want to print that out and frame it. Holy shit. Yeah, the adorable ragdoll. Yes. You have plans to go on to Nebula? Yes, eventually. My understanding is that it's kind of an invite-only thing, and I have a couple people that I could maybe ask to vouch for me, but I would like to get a more stable upload schedule and a more stable work schedule before I try and like pitch myself to a place like Nebula. I have enough problems meeting my own deadlines. I certainly don't want to make it somebody else's problem, you know. What if we close our eyes collectively and pretend to play New Vegas? Ugh. Can't wait for live action Flow remake. Oh my gosh, who do you think is gonna voice the cat? The owner of a small publisher, Iron Circus Comics, sometimes gets offers to print stuff that's clearly a prep for making movie pitches, and she says that she rejects those offers. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Unfortunately, that's also a large part of the mechanism by which independent filmmakers get their stuff made, because typically you can't get any kind of investment unless you have some kind of proof of concept. And if you super don't have any money, like you don't have even enough money to make a short, which is how most people produce their proof of concept for a movie, then like typically the approach is to make a graphic novel that you can take to distribution conventions. So why waste 100 million on Lilo and Stitch when you could make cows for like 40 million tops, or hundreds of beavers for like, what is it, like, I want to say like 50K. Let's look it up. Hundreds of beavers. Or Terrifier 2, which was made with I think $300,000. That's like, can you imagine? 300,000 compared to 250 million. Yeah, Hundreds of Beavers was 150,000. And Terrifier 2, perhaps the best B movie of the past decade so far, was made for $250,000. Yep. That's nothing, you know. And it's so good. Like, the production quality is it's better than a bunch of the shit Disney has made in the past decade. Andor was also pretty expensive. Yeah, it's okay to be expensive as long as it's good, as long as you're actually spending the money on something and it's not just evaporating into thin air. The original one ends with the characters forming an Ohana to support Nani so she can better support Lilo, compared with the current one where that doesn't happen. No. Give your child to the state. Give your child to the state, single Indian mother sister, and go become something. Go contribute to the formal market economy. I hate it. And also, it's like, it's just so fucking stupid, dude. For marine biology, go to the mainland to study marine biology from Hawaii. You fucking kidding me? Also, Native Hawaiians get free college tuition in Hawaii at the University of Hawaii. None of it makes any fucking sense. It's so lazy. It's so lazy. Being poor is sad, so Disney's sweeping that under the rug. Yes, exactly. Oh, Return of the King live in concert. I'm very jealous. Nebula has members only jackets and everything. Terrifier franchise is like a franchise of B movies, a B franchise. Yeah, many such cases, you know. Return of the Creature from the Black Lagoon. Return of the Son of the Creature from the Black Lagoon. Do you ever write scripts just for the fun of it, knowing it has no shot of going anywhere? No. If I write something or begin to write something, I generally have some idea that it's going to go somewhere. And I'm always kind of irritated when it doesn't. Although it usually does get used in some way at some point. Like that JoJo Siwa section of the Sinners video. I wrote that like last September. And just never could figure out what to do with it. I thought I was going to maybe start a TikTok for a while, and that was going to be a TikTok, and then I decided I didn't want to do TikTok at all. So it just kind of sat on my computer, but it found its place. Ohana means trust the government. Incredible how every time Disney tries to correct something regressive of the movies they remake, they just fuck it up even worse. Exactly. Exactly. It's like that Jesus painting looks all fucked up now. Yeah, this is what happens when you, like, simply respect the fact that you are, you know, I don't even know about more enlightened, but just, like, simply respect the fact that culture has progressed since those movies were made, and the way culture has progressed means that those movies are a little cringe now. That's okay. That's okay. And, like, you know, the thing, whatever impulse it was that got people to make the originals to begin with, probably wouldn't exist in that same form now. Why? Like, I can't help but notice that we're not trying to remake Pocahontas. I can't imagine we're going to remake The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Can you imagine? It's like kind of a minor miracle that The Hunchback of Notre Dame ever got made in the first place. Oh my God, what a movie. It's so good. What's the next video coming out? Is it still Final? It is still Final Destination. Yeah. It's going to be about an hour and 15 minutes long, so quite a project. Yeah. But feels good to get something done. Surprised that studios haven't tried to remake Ghibli films in live action. I don't think that Miyazaki would ever let them. Absolutely not. He's not giving away the film rights for his movies, because he knows what will happen, you know. I think people sometimes forget how rare it has been for artists to break through. Like, the famous ones are literally 1% of the entire artistic community, and perhaps not the best part of it. Yes, absolutely. Got some incredible lines, etc. I imagine we'll make good TikToks. I don't know. I don't use it. Yeah, I don't know. I think Misaki would kill them personally, for sure. Yeah, I don't love the idea of making shorts out of videos. I will do it out of streams for sure. I have an editor that I'm talking to about doing that potentially, but I don't know. It kind of feels like polluting my page to do that kind of thing just from videos themselves. Still remember how joking but not really hype Twitter got when the Dark Universe is getting advertised as the prospect of them casting some hunk as Quasimodo. Yeah. Oh, Hampton, if you ever get around to making that, I would dearly love to see it. Just watched Talk to Me Yesterday. Anybody seen that? I've seen it. It's good. Probably gonna go see a movie tomorrow. I have to decide between well, let's see. I'm just gonna go ahead and share my... Yes, here we go. Okay. Oop. Send this to the back, please. Move to bottom. All right. Oh. Holy shit, so many tabs. Oh, you've not even begun to see how I hoard tabs. This is but a taste. What was I doing? Oh, yeah. So, let's see. Oops. Alamo, Draft House, Lakeline. We'll see what my options are. Yes, yes. Cookies. Select location. Oop-a-doo-doo. Okay. Oh, I saw the Phoenician scheme the other day. I liked it. One of Wes Anderson's better ones, in my opinion. I liked it quite a bit. Showgirls. Ugh. 11 p.m. Shit. I almost went and saw that shark movie that's out. Man. And now I think it's gone. Yesterday, I almost made the drive, fucking 40-minute drive to the closest Alamo to go see it. And now I don't see it at all. Yeah, Heretic's good. A little self-important, but it's self-aware of its self-importance. See, irony is not, like, terrible for movies. You just can't build your entire industry off of it. You can't be ironic about shit if you don't already have, like, a solid cultural foundation to be ironic about. You know what I mean? Like, at a certain point, the copy you've made of the copy you've made of the copy you made of the copy of the copy of the copy becomes completely unintelligible, and it's like, what even are you referring to? What is the joke exactly? I don't get it anymore, you know. I have not seen The Great Silence, no. I don't know if it's doxing to reveal that I live in Texas. I'll be okay. How's it compared to Asteroid City? Asteroid City I missed. Didn't see it. What is knife plus heart? Gay porn director and a pathetic lesbian screw-up, Anne Perez begins to work on her next project. A leather mouse killer hunts her friends and collaborators one by one. Vanessa sets down a long trail of blood, sweat, and other body fluids, investigating the murders while shooting films and navigating her own unrequited passions. No. Very art house. I could see ballerina, I guess. I just have negative interest. I've never seen Dogma. That might be fun. Man, I really want to see that shark movie. Or Bring Her Back. But I don't want to wait until 11 p.m. That sucks. Phoenician Scheme was very funny. Several laugh out loud moments in theater. Yeah, I liked it a lot. It's also fun to see Benicio del Toro do an American accent. I heard him slip once or twice, but it was very good. That's a hard thing to do. You know, like it's one thing for an Anglophone, for someone from an Anglophone country to do another Anglophone accent, but to like do an accent from a place you are completely, that, you know, from a language that is not your native language at all, is pretty difficult. Yeah, shark movie. The Shark Movie 2025. It's not is it Into the Deep? Maybe it is. Oh no, it's Dangerous Animals. Dangerous Animals. It's about some lady goes to, oh, for fuck's sake. Some lady hires like an Australian tour guide to take her out into the middle of the ocean for, I don't know, some kind of diving or something, and he's crazy, and he's a serial killer, and is gonna feed her to sharks. It looked good. Now it's gone forever. What a shame. Anyone seen The Materialists? I have not. Maybe I'll go see that. That wouldn't be bad. Hampton, you said two cringy things in a row. Hello, Notrizol. For anyone who just turned up, New Vegas won't stop crashing. I don't know why, so we're doing other stuff. I wonder where the game is. Let's see. It's the Thunder games, not the Pacers game. Where to watch NBA Finals. Fubo, apparently. Oh, fuck's sake. I really don't want to. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not signing up for a new streaming service just for this. I'm dual tabbing right now. Disney Plus. I don't think I have a Disney Plus membership. Stream East. Is that real? I've never once streamed a basketball game on my computer. Oh, you did. Oh, fuck. You get copyrighted if you stream it. Ugh. Like they ban you. Ugh. Okay, fair. But I'd still like it in the background to look at. I thought about doing it when I thought I was also going to be playing New Vegas, but since that's not happening, like, you know, fuck it. I was worried that I'd get like overstimulated and freak out. But that's obviously not going to happen anymore. So, boop, 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 boop. Boo, this sucks. Stream East buffers, but oh, watch the ABC live stream here. Won't make me sign up. I gotta turn off my display capture. Or my window capture, whatever. There we go. Woo! Just open that tab as a new window browser. Yeah, I understand that. I just want to get this set. Before I do anything else. Okay. Okay. Wow, yeah, this is like really classic streaming platform with the porn ads, huh? Wild. How do I get rid of it? X? Ugh, fuck. This ad will close in 30 seconds. Promise. Okay, sees ahead. I can see that. I'm gonna continue ignoring Hampton. It's funny when he's mad. No, buffer. God. Hi, Cthulhu. What's happening is that Fallout keeps crashing. I don't know what's wrong. And I tried repairing it, but it's just not wanting to work. So we're just kind of fucking around today. Get a pop-up blockers. Oh my god, there's so many So many steps just to watch a fucking game. I don't want to install a pop-up blocker. Get some booty when you pirate. You're not worthy of horchata. Fuck you. Vegas is the buggiest fucking game in the world. Yeah. Okay, so this is fun. On this website, they give you the game, and then they give you the pop-up ads, and the pop-up ads say, this ad will close in 30 seconds. Don't worry. You'll be able to watch the game unimpeded in a mere half minute, and then 30 seconds goes by, and the ad does indeed disappear, but then it buffers forever. So... Is there no X? Of course there is, but I'm not clicking that shit. Well, when the ads work, but the show doesn't. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, fine. I'll install an ad blocker. If you feel like spending an hour of your life to make the game not buggy, I do. I will have to eventually, so thank you for that link. Client for a music video I was working on just flipped the script on me and asked me to completely change it out of nowhere. I love that. Nice. Are they at least, I mean, are they at least paying you extra? Fuck. I'm writing a spec script of the Weather Underground, and the opening scene is Eldridge Cleaver holding Timothy Leary hostage in a basement in Algeria. It's a good opening scene. Well done. Yes, add extension, please. Whiplash Guy did Babylon. What will Ryan Coogler's blank check project be? My understanding is this kind of was his blank check project. Black Panther 3 isn't a blank check project. Okay, try to pull this up once more. Now it's not working at all. I don't even get porn out of it. Maybe this one. There we go. Okay. Well, I like this. 23 to 14. Good start. Didn't bomb, you get another blank check project. Yes, you do. I don't know. I don't have any idea what it could possibly be. I'm sure he's got some kind of plan, but I could not even begin to guess. I'm sure it will have something to do with the black cultural experience in America. No. Prima, Americans are calling us Mexican Spaniards, and that we were not natives, but created. You're gonna have to complete your sentence there, Hampton. But yes, I know what you mean. Yeah, in certain places of the U.S., everybody who's from a Spanish-speaking country is just Spanish. Fuck it. It's inaccurate, but it's not as racist as you know, people who say that from a position of actual racism than just or a position of ignorance rather than just a cultural imperative. Do you want my Disney Plus login info? Oh, thank you very much, but I think I got it figured out. It's working now. Hope he doesn't get stuck in IP jail. Why would that happen? I guess it could. That kind of is where he was. I had somebody comment on the Sinners video that, like, I mean, how can you say that he's just like he's just been working for Disney when he's made Creed and also Fruitvale Station? It's like, I think it's pretty clear that what I'm referring to is that this is his first, like, original from his head movie, you know? Like, he did not invent the other stories that he has adapted. Sorry, I just got distracted by that foul there. Rooting for the Pacers, unfortunately. That is unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but I will forgive you. And I do mourn your future loss. Apparently the users on Twitter are pushing European nationalist propaganda. Who's surprised? Who's surprised, dude? That's claiming that we Mexicans are just Spaniards. Furthermore, that we should shut up because we willingly sold California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. You can't listen to those people, dude. They pretty obviously don't know what they're talking about. And it's also like, if Mexicans are just Spaniards, then why are people so fucking racist to Mexicans because of how brown they are? Why do they think Mexicans are brown? Like, it's so ridiculous how easy it is to, like, it's I mean, pretty depressing, honestly, how easy it is to break the logic of the right wing in America right now. If Mexicans are just Spanish, why are they all fucking brown, dude? This used to matter to you, you know? Like, on the other hand, you've got racists in the exact same political camp who are saying that the brownness of Mexicans is, like, intrinsically attached to them being worse people, you know? Did Ryan Coogler not invent Rocky? God, X, because when you open it on your browser, you close it immediately. Uh-huh. What else has happened recently? Oh, the parade. Man, when will I learn? You know, I expected that something really bad might happen at the parade. I expected that it would be optically horrific in some manner for somebody, for either the left or the right. And instead it wasn't. Instead it was just really pathetic. Like, truly, when will I learn? Of course it was pathetic. This whole thing about, like, I keep seeing rumors that, well, first of all, they played Fortunate Son, which Fortunate Son is a song about how rich people's kids in America don't have to go to war. They can avoid the draft because they're rich people's kids. And, you know, only some people are meant to defend the red, white, and blue. Only some people are meant to go be true patriots and fight for freedom. And this is the song that they chose to play in the background of it's incredible. Like, they're just fucking morons, dude. Like, this sucks. Like, everything about the political situation right now just sucks so hard. But, like, nobody is consistently better at slamming their own dick in the car door than the American right wing right now. You know, I expected something terrible in a different way. Yeah, I know. You know, like, I in retrospect, it was a very good choice for all of the No Kings protests to avoid DC. Like, there were still a couple protests there, but Like they weren't at the parade. They weren't giving it any credence at all. And so it just seemed like so pathetic. It was just silent, you know? Yeah. I live in DC, so we were all like, ooh, what's going to happen? And then it was like, oh, look, nothing. I know, it's great. And like, yeah, that's what I was going to say. I keep seeing like various rumors. I thought about writing about it, but I don't know if I'm knowledgeable enough about the context to comment upon how the soldiers were not in lockstep. And I understand that there are more and less formal ways to that service members march in various situations. The rumor is that marching out of time is considered like extremely disrespectful to whatever context you're in. And so this was like maybe a sort of silent protest. I don't know. I think either way, it's like, I can't imagine that the American military is very accustomed to sort of bolstering their ceremonial performance. You know, that's not something we do. So like, this was never going to be great. Like, this was never going to be what Trump wanted, you know? Like, he wanted an unbelievable, just like outstanding show of American discipline and violent force. But we show discipline and violent force by bombing the fuck out of your country. You know, like, we don't do it by performing little choreographies on our city streets. That's just not what we do. It's not where our expertise is. So I don't know. Or like Nazis, but somehow more stupid. You know, it gives me no pleasure to say that there were many intellectuals among the Nazi Party. They were evil and smart about it sometimes. Not all Nazis were smart, obviously. But like, there were serious scholars among the Nazis who respected a certain form of epistemological consistency, and epistemological hygiene, I guess you could say, that like you should at least present a uniform ideology and a uniform image of yourself as you fit into that ideology, and there's none of that now. Like it's all just vibes. Like, none of these people think they ever have to read anything. I mean, like, I challenge you to to look at to look at the Trump 2 cabinet and find a person you would bet reads books. You know? Video where you hear the tank treads squeak is so funny. I know. Squeaky. There are also indigenous activists that recognize Mexico's imperialist attitudes and call Chicanoismo, Mexican nationalism, inherently racist and incompatible with liberation. Yeah, it's Mexico has a racism problem for fucking certain. You know, nationalism is always going to have its drawbacks. I kind of think of nationalism in the same way, and honestly, I think it functions by similar rules as just violence writ large. You know, that like you can construct some effective mobilization through nationalism in the same way that you can get shit done through violence, but you better be really fucking careful about how you deploy that shit, because it gets out of control really, really fast. It's kind of like the difference between white magic and dark magic, or good magic and dark magic, is that like dark magic can only construct things out of the destruction of something else, you know? And that's why in every fantasy setting, dark magic is considered evil, because that's something that you can do, that you can only do if you have just kind of like a fundamental disregard and disrespect for the kind of natural balance of life. This is what's so cool about like Jedis and Sith as a concept, you know? Can you look up the Epicurean paradox on Wikipedia and break it down? I mean, I can try. Let's see. Why not? Epicurean paradox. The second autocomplete is Epicurean paradox debunked. Okay. The Epicurean paradox is a logical dilemma about the problem of evil attributed to the Greek philosopher Epicurus, who argued against the existence of God who's simultaneously omniscient, omnipotent, and omnibenevolent. The logic of the paradox proposed by Epicurus takes three possible characteristics of God. Blah, 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 blah. If a God knows everything and has a completely good, God is all-knowing, totally good, and evil exists and wants to change it. I mean, well, I don't know. What do you want to know? It's like, what do you want broken down about it? Because I can tell you that I think that the Epicurean paradox is basically a product of thinking that the only way to conceptualize a God is to attribute some kind of personhood to it, to anthropomorphize it in some way. And to the extent that I am at all, like, have a spiritual impulse, or am capable of envisioning gods in my world, they're not gods that think about me in that way, or that consider my life any more important, or any less important, for that matter, than the lives of anything else. That, like, this is a network, this is a web, this is not a narrative, and you're not the hero of it, and so that I think is the sort of the sort of chip in the armor of the Epicurean paradox, that, like, it really is something that you can only consider like watertight if you think of the world as a place where humans and human motivations and human goals are would rightfully be reflective of the goals and motivations and, like, nature of consciousness that could be attributed to some kind of God. Like, it's very, very it's not difficult at all to imagine gods that don't have a human, that don't have a consciousness that could be interpreted as human. We do it all the time. So, like, I don't think the Epicurean paradox at all applies to any kind of animistic philosophy. I think that's pretty obvious. It's like it's a question wrongly asked in that sense. It's a question that has absolutely nothing to do with the context we're speaking within. I gotta catch up on the chat. Chat, clip that. Oh God, what did I say? Oh, not Nazis. There are many persuasive Nazi intellectuals that can draw you in if you're not careful. I think Carl Schmitt is a really great person to read if you want to know about the Nazi state of mind, and indeed the sort of broader colonialist form of logic. It does make sense. It's stupid, and it's this whole idea that, like, every interaction we take as humans is oriented toward identifying friends versus enemies, and that's what society is set up to do. And you protect your friends and you attack your enemies, or you at least defend against your enemies, and this friend-enemy distinction is the thing that organizes all human political life. And that's ridiculous, but it is good to have as a thing to point to, that, like, there is a logic to right-wing fascism, typically. Now there isn't. There's no logic at all to fascism now, which is ironically the main reason it seems so impossible to deconstruct now. There's nothing to deconstruct because it's like the most ultimately postmodern thought structure that I think we may have ever produced in human history. Like, it's an ideology with no cultural referent at all. Oh, it's so gross. It's so spooky, you know? American foreign policy is horrendous because not only will America come to your country and kill all your people, but what's worse, I think, is that they'll come back 20 years later and make a movie about how killing your people made their soldiers feel sad. Yeah. Neo-Nazis don't want to learn how to read. They just want to misquote 1984 and make it about trans people. Yep. I have a hot take on the Mexican nationalism thing. Oh, please. Please give me your take. Linda McMahon might read books, but it's probably just the fountainhead in various intriguing fonts. I don't think Linda McMahon reads. No. No way. Ayn Rand or otherwise, Linda McMahon does not read. I'm calling it now. Dark magic helps you farm aura. Yeah, Wikipedia stream. You already solved this in your orc video. A little bit. I'd say it was more addressed in the end video. Yeah, Diogenes is great. Bringing in a rooster. What is it? A plucked rooster? Look, a man. Mostly about actually eating the Bible. Yeah. I've been watching a lot of Alex O'Connor recently. I like him. He's quite good. He's so polite. You know, he's so respectful to everybody he speaks to. I hope that if I'm ever in the kinds of situations, you know, discursive situations he puts himself in all the time, I could be half as cool and calm and collected. Narrative of one's life. Back to the Sound of Freedom vid. Yup. Pretty much. And that really is kind of the logic that MAGA bases itself on, which I think is actually a pretty good, maybe litmus test, as we're trying to sort of in real time figure out what MAGA is and how to describe it in the future. I think one of the aspects of it that is really going to help us out is that they think movies, they think like the narrative constructs afforded by movies and TV logic is actually real life. They think that's the real life, and everything that happens outside movies is just like a series of flaws to be corrected, you know. Tech bros do that too, which is why they get along so well. Like, notice how tech bros right now have absolutely nothing to offer to society. They have no ideas at all. They're actually quite devoid of any original thought that doesn't have some specific sci-fi reference, because all they can think of in terms of the progression of technology is recreating the shit that they thought they were cool when they were 7. That's it. Has nothing to do with any kind of actual, you know, technological insight or eye to the future or, you know, innovative spirit, making the world a better place. No, they just want to make pastiches of sci-fi. It's so pathetic. Yeah, from the AOT video. Yeah. Yeah, you did the reading. Yep. Hot take is Americans are not contextually equipped to handle the conversation regarding Mexican nationalism and racism in Mexico. Yeah, I think that's true. Mexican nationalism is a whole different beast. And is in a, I will say, a much healthier place than American nationalism. This is what happens when you have an additional, you know, at least in the Americas, this is what happens when you have an additional revolution, a second revolution after your first revolution where you kick out the colonizing nation. I think every Latin American country had a second revolution. Canada didn't, and the US didn't. Somehow Canada has succeeded in not completely losing their shit, and still retaining some kind of national identity, sort of, more or less. But Yeah, the US really fucking failed in that regard. So like I think I mentioned this on a stream a long time ago. Long time ago. It was like 2 months. But like, so last year in the Zocalo in Mexico City, they did the largest mariachi performance ever. They set a world record for the biggest mariachi performance. And I sat and thought about it, and I thought, what would even be the corollary in American culture? You know, like, what would be the biggest performance we could put on that represents American cultural identity to break a world record or whatever? It would have to be jazz, right? But that would never happen. It would never happen because it's too black. Just catching up with the chat. Linda McMahon reads WWE scripts. The reasoning non-Mexican people use when trying to explain nationalism and injustice and genocide in Mexico fails because they try to translate American analysis to a country being completely that is completely the opposite to America. I don't know what completely the opposite to America would look like, but yeah, of course. Americans think that every other country is just like us, except failed somehow. You know. We don't have any conceptualization that there are like different paths you can take in the development of a society, which is part of what MAGA structures itself on, you know. The authoritarian bent in American culture right now is completely dependent on those authoritarians convincing Americans that nothing is ever going to get any better for the rest of time, you know. It is our job, I think, in that light, to be hopeful about shit and to continue making shit and continue talking about shit and not be just like utterly black-pilled about everything, because there's always going to be different possibilities. There's an infinite number of ways things could go. And these people are just locking themselves into one way, one direction, one form that the future can take. And that's a much more vulnerable position to put yourself in, even if you're structuring an ideology around this lack of ideology and this, like, you know, the weave, you know, even if you're structuring your ideology on your, on how non-committal you are, it is still the case that you are like gesturing toward a vision of the future that is singular in its consistency and that you are purporting is going to be eternal. And that's, it's ahistorical. It's never been the case. It's never going to be the case. You know, it's kind of the only thing you can be certain of in this world. So if you're choosing to reject that in your ideology, you're kind of doomed to failure eventually. Unfortunately, I'm trying to say that Elon, I'm afraid, won't get us to Mars. I honestly wonder at what point Elon has to go to prison, you know, for lying about his company's capabilities. Like, Elizabeth Holmes is in, like, big boy prison right now because she said that her stupid little device was going to test everybody's blood, you know, run 100 tests or whatever with a single drop of blood. And that was a lie. And she's in prison for it now. Elon Musk has been saying that we're going to get consumer grade humanoid robots, that we're going to be going to Mars, that we're going to have complete full self-driving cars next year for the past 10 years. Like, at a certain point, like, that's not just being incorrect about the projections of your company. That is market manipulation, and it's illegal. You know, like, he's lying about his company's capabilities in order to secure more investment. That's, you go to prison for that, I thought. You know, at what point do we just, like, finally acknowledge that he's just lying about what his companies can do? You know, send him to fucking prison. What the fuck? Like, Triple H and all other wrestlers don't choose. For real. I can consider myself fairly well read, but I also acknowledge that as an American, I just do not comprehend the forms of classism and racism and nationalism that take place in different countries. I could learn, but it would take a lot of effort to get to the point where I even get close to a native's perspective on the subject. Yeah. I mean, even just like, this is why languages are so interesting to me. And like, if I don't know, I am not personally ultra talented in learning languages, but I wish I was, because like, oh my God, nothing gives you more insight into the culture of a place than a language, where, like, especially if you can compare it to your own, and how your language structures what is thinkable for you, and you could kind of see what is thinkable in another culture. So cool, so interesting. You can see like how cultural assumptions develop around what is thinkable and expressible in linguistic terms. It's extremely interesting. And yeah, that's the kind of stuff that's just completely disregarded by Americans, because Americans think that English is the only language that matters. And if you can't express something in English, in perfect English, in a way that Americans can understand, like, you know, with no missteps, no grammatical missteps, every idiom on point, completely tailored for an American experience, then you must just be stupid. I wish I was kidding. Our issues are life-threatening. The wrong phrasing can get your family killed by the government, cartels, private sector. Yep. That's about to be America. Unless we refuse to shut the fuck up about it. I mean, maybe even if we continue to not shut the fuck up about it, but it kind of is the only thing that the only tool sort of available to us right now, and it is an extremely powerful tool. I think people forget that too easily. We should be as loud and as aggravating to the administration as possible, as long as we were able to. I'm gonna write an essay that conquest permeates European prehistory, so their myths are by tradition conquest-oriented, and the biggest innovation to Western narratives is don't fight. Yeah, it's true. I talked on a stream also a couple months ago, I think, about like the theory that I subscribe to, which is that Enlightenment epistemology was in actuality probably more inspired by Native American societies than any kind of like organic, you know, bloom of insight that happened in French cafes or whatever. The Enlightenment didn't really start until colonial contact with First Nations in Canada, and it makes perfect sense that they would like there was all this, you know, cross-cultural interaction between the French and First Nations. Like, they learned each other's languages, they learned each other's cultures in order to trade with each other. Fucking of course. You know, fucking of course. The natives were like, I don't could you explain to me why you have a king, and why you have all this authority in your society, and why you do this and why you do that, and the opposite. And that is the point at when you start to see all this concern for democracy and inequality pop up in Western Europe. It doesn't take a fucking genius to come up with the idea of majority rule. You know, it's happened many, many times across many, many cultures. Many other cultures have wrestled with the idea of authority and democracy and how to ensure one or the other. But yeah, we're just so attached, just like fastened to the idea that that has to have been some kind of European invention, and because it's a solely European invention, it must be like very precarious, you know, that like if we lose this, we'll never get it back. It's like, no, you can reinvent democracy anytime you want. We're having to reinvent it now because we live under an authoritarian, you know, like it. This is how it goes. This is just the story of humanity. Sorry, I'm way behind on the chat. The Super Bowl. Yeah. Record-breaking Super Bowl. Then again, I think maybe many countries have also failed to comprehend the nuances of anti-blackness and how that anti-blackness seeps into other cultures due to American cultural imperialism. Yeah, totally. Absolutely. New Zealand batting an average of 0 revolutions and a strong labor, indigenous, and progressive movement. I mean, I hear they have their own issues as well. But But they're doing better. They're doing better than we are. Cthulhu, you're in New Zealand, aren't you? I mean, they wouldn't have had to do the haka in you know, whatever your legislative body is if things were going great for the indigenous population, I feel. The social, financial, and cultural superstructure in Mexico is insanely deadly, bloody, and impenetrable. Yep. Oh, yeah. So were the Aztecs. That's, like, quite deep in Mexican culture, to a pre-Columbian extent. Elizabeth Holmes' only crime is being a girl boss. The difference between Holmes and Elon is too many government officials and politicians stake their careers and reputation on his success to the point where SpaceX is NASA. To save their own asses, they will guard his. Revolution sounds pretty sweet right now, doesn't it? Also, all the Neuralink shit, yeah. Hello, Bun Veto Friendly Own. Oh, scared, sorry. What's that curse? Oh, that's this is my is from yesterday. It's my custom Terrifier 3 limited edition collectible drink from Terrifier 3 last year. I didn't hate Terrifier 3, but I didn't love it, I gotta say. Enlightenment hate, I love it here. Oh yeah. Hampton, I think you could write essays. I believe in you. You could do it. Similar to compiling Twitch chat messages, yeah. The reason for the haka in Parliament was that the center-right and Libertarian Party is in charge, hence the protests. Yeah, see? They got their own problems. Leftists on Letterboxd are hating on sinners because they think the vampires represent collectivism and intersectionality. Is that the case? Man. You know, stupidity is equal opportunity, you know? That isn't organic anti-blackness creating a shitty feedback loop with anti-blackness filtered in through American cultural imperialist lens, and I don't know what is. The hyper-fetishization of pre-Columbian cultures is very telling because of how much disregard the general public has with the remaining cultures that barely survive here. Yes, 1000%. It was also a form of neglect to the Spanish occupation and forced erasure of native culture and assimilation to European standards in a manner that was accelerated and was unlike European development, aka we never had our Middle Ages. Yep. Yeah, the way that, I mean, yeah, the way that Aztec culture has been sort of commodified in, especially in like the more, the more touristy areas of Mexico. Like the Aztec dancers in Mexico City is like we don't have any idea what Aztec rituals or performances were like, and so they just kind of made it up, which is okay. It's still cool. It's an aesthetic. I still dig it, but propping up this aesthetic of indigeneity in a country where, you know, the actual indigenous people, where indigeneity is an identity that's really, really nebulous and up for grabs in a way that I think Mexicans don't like to acknowledge. Like, I think it's getting better, at least from, you know, what limited perspective I have from here. But like it seems to me like a lot more Mexicans are comfortable claiming that they have indigenous, you know, ethnicities. And like it was very much a thing for Mexicans. All Mexicans like would claim that they were more Spanish than Indian. No, you're fucking not. You know, no, you're not. And it seems like more Mexicans are getting to the point where, you know, an indigenous history is something to both be proud of and mourn, because, you know, we were, unless you're still in one of the very small tribes in Mexico, then you have had your indigeneity, you know, taken from you in the same way that Black Americans have, you know. So I don't begrudge anybody trying to come up with this with some iconography to restructure that. I think that's fine. But the way that Mexican culture right now does that to the to some extent to the exclusion of inclusion of actual tribal life, that's we got to be careful with that, you know. Have you guys seen La Llorona? The not James Wan one. Are you talking about the one that's in Guatemala? I think I have. It's quite good. My cat whined at me until I let her up on the loft area, and now is whining at me to let her down. My cat has started whining for breakfast at 5 a.m., which is pretty rude, I think. God, I am not a fan of how my camera is failing to pick up the light. I think it may be adjusting its ISO setting automatically, not at my behest, but I don't want to fix it. What I find most intriguing is how Americans talk about race in Mexico. I've seen plenty of Americans denying our reality of most of us being native and a product of colonialism. We are half native and half something else. Yep. We don't know what our own tongues sound like, nor do we know our names. Yeah. I mean, people still speak Nawa. But yeah, there are a bunch of languages in Mexico that are extinct. Really fucking sad. But I, you know, like, Mexico's in a bit of a cultural renaissance right now, and seems sort of like actively kind of trying to figure itself out and figure out what it means to be Mexican in a less kind of violent setting. Not that Mexico isn't still very violent, and not a great place to live in a lot of places, but there's a general sort of increasing comfort that I detect between Mexicans and Mexican identity, that like we seem a lot more comfortable sitting and thinking about what it means to be Mexican and being like happy about that, which is fairly new and kind of cool to see. And like one of the things about that is like how many words in Mexican Spanish are lifted from Nawa. I think that's neat. You know, I think we should continue to do that. We should cultivate that. You know, and it seems like at least a certain sector of Mexican society is actively trying to do that, trying to you know, sort of rehabilitate places like Xochimilco that are, you know, super culturally important to Mexican history, Mexican indigenous history, and Mexican indigenous culture, and like especially like as things like climate change continue, like that will continue to become more and more important, you know. These agricultural methods, these forms of government, like we're gonna have to turn to those at some point, sooner rather than later, I hope. So what you know about New Zealand? It's probably the best example of indigenous and settler society working together. Interesting. I would like to know more about New Zealand. I would like to live there. I would like to not be in this country. Remember a Maori speaker at my school talking about the connections between the American Civil Rights Movement and the New Zealand Indigenous Rights Movement. It's interesting. We're like the opposite of the African American experience, and Americans still try to pin us down to their own fucking structures. I love reading about classic novel. A lot of research has gone into it, which is unique for an indigenous language. Yeah, it's what happens when you invade, you know, a competing empire. Like, it's yet another form of, you know, inconsistencies that people on the right don't give a fuck about. But like the assumption that, I don't know, this image of like savagery, it's a racist image of savagery associated with any kind of native culture, indigenous culture. The Aztec Empire was a serious fucking empire. It was a big fucking deal. It spanned over the Inca Empire also. I mean, the Cahokia. Like, I mean, there's so many examples. This is not like, again, empire is not a European invention either, you know. But like, oh my God, the Aztec Empire had running water when Spaniards were still fucking throwing their shit out the window, you know. So yeah, when you invade an empire, it will behoove you to learn everything you possibly can about how they run. Oh, God damn the goat. I was seeing a tree's testicles. Yes. You fall into the Anglo-centrist perspective using CDMX way to analyze. Tell me exactly what, in regards to what, because I think I've been pretty open about how limited my perspective is. I understand that not all of Mexico is Mexico City. That's why I couch all my language in terms of like certain sectors of, you know, any given society, et cetera, et cetera. No, I simply disagree that the Enlightenment is a product of gunpowder. You know, that you Hampton are falling into the Jared Diamond perspective of guns, germs, and steel. You can run an empire without gunpowder. It's not hard. Heard of Aztec by Gary Jennings? I have. Very well researched book, heavily fictionalized. Yeah, I'd like to read it at some point. Very 80s, very 80s product. I think it was written in the 80s. Inca especially, yeah, slightly larger than Rome, and they built it on foot. Yeah. They had this, like, you know, super complicated tax system that they would collect by walking. It's crazy. You know, you can construct an empire with whatever technology is available. You don't need any kind of specified technology to make that happen. Shut up. Man, you love to see a comfortable Thunder lead, don't you? The one cartoon that Ben Shapiro released showing Columbus bringing the natives corn made me, oh my God, I have not seen that. I gotta look that up. Ben Shapiro, natives, corn, comic. Oh, he apologized. Oh, this must have been really bad. Holy shit. Let's see. This is back in 2017. Yikes. Oh no. Man, that's never something you want to see about yourself in a publication. Well, I guess, I don't know, maybe now it's different. 7 years later, it's a different world. Conservative pundit Ben Shapiro apologized on Tuesday for a Columbus Day video posted on his website that depicted Native Americans as cannibals. Cool. Love that. I think many of our problems in society will be solved if we, like there's a checklist of things I think the mainstream left needs to accomplish in terms of like self-development before we're going to get past this stage. One of them is what I've talked about before, which is not sane washing the administration, not treating them not trying to like construct them into some kind of worthy adversary that oh, we can't do anything about it because oh, it's just this unmanageable monster, and instead acknowledging that it's just because your policies fucking suck. And the other is getting past this residual serious racism we have against indigenous culture. Bad. Like talking about talking about like the Bronze Age as if and the Dark Ages as if these are like as if the development of human culture and the evolution can be as if the development of human culture can be regarded as evolution in the same way that a species evolves, that we were just like naturally stupider and know a lot more about the world just in the past 50 to 70 years, that we're like a completely different animal than we were before, whenever that is, Oaxaca, Sonora, Sinaloa, Tamaulipas, Veracruz. These are the ones you should read in depth. Hampton. I know what I know what Mexico is. I've been to Oaxaca. I've been to Sonora. I haven't been to Sinaloa, and you'll never catch me there. I've been to Veracruz. I agree. It is a lot worse and more deadly than most people think, and also a lot more beautiful than many people are willing to admit. No, I didn't check out Last Woman on Earth yet. I've been in an editing hole, but I do. It's one of the many tabs I have open. Thank you for not playing his Alvin and the Chipmunks ass voice. I've noticed that when I'm editing and I've got it scrubbing in 2x speed, I sound like Ben Shapiro. Everybody does. It's very funny. I refuse to refer to the early Middle Ages as the Dark Ages because it sees the rise of Islam, and it is oh so beautiful. Hard agree. The term Dark Ages was a huge mistake. The scholars should have seen that coming. The reason they're called the Dark Ages is not because they were bad, it's because we have very little documentation of what happened. That's the only reason it's called the Dark Ages, and we've colloquialization has kind of fucked that up. It's just rough Googling the Ben Shapiro thing and wrote out, Ben Shapiro apologizes for cannibalism. Hopefully that won't look weird in my search history. I've got a lot worse shit in my search history. I don't think I have anything to worry about. I'd be offended if I wasn't on a list, of some kind. Oop. Morbid man is home. That's why I love science fiction. The best examples of sci-fi. Yeah, totally. Hi. Oh my gosh, what do you have? Ah, amazing. Fallout kept crashing. Yeah, it won't stop crashing, so this is just a... The same thing as before? No, different. I can't even open the game. It crashes before I can before it. What am I doing?
Yeah.
Like on stream?
Yeah.
Nothing. Just chatting. Chatting with the people.
Probably correct the same thought.
Probably.
Way earlier one? Like go with you back.
That is a good idea. I will try that. Yeah. In the next couple days, I'll try as much as I can. Anyway, that's why I love science fiction. The best examples of sci-fi talk about how human nature is only defined by their material conditions. Yep. Exactly. Have you thought instead that robots are cool, and that's why science fiction is awesome, and we should make all the robots from the story Don't Make the Robots. Update: I was involved with a brawl with ice on the ranch I work at. That's awesome. Good. They left. They refused to show a warrant, and being the foreman and all, I got off my horse and handled it the cowboy way. Oh my god. You deserve a medal. Well done. Do you think Sean Fain's general strike is going to work? I don't know. Define work. Work in terms of what? Good to know that his streaming service is flopping. Oh, it's not just flopping, it's over. They're not doing it anymore. They'll be lucky if they can salvage the Daily Wire as a company. It's really bad. They love it. Never understand how someone can sound like Ben Shapiro and have people consistently listen. I know. And he's married also. The whole outfit was fighting them. Some were Republicans that just jumped ship from the administration. Fuck yeah. Hell yeah. What a treat to hear. It's because it's poorly lit. Light bulbs weren't invented yet. Motherfucker said, we fucked up. Let's blame the global south. Yep. You got a mugshot and everything? Oh my god! I'm both proud and envious. I'll be kind of disappointed in myself if I die without getting a mugshot. I'm just Mexican and out. You sure your last save wasn't corrupted? I'm not sure at all. It's gonna be the next thing I try. Is loading another save. Which is really gonna suck because I don't think I have that many saves. We'll see. Hard space shipbreaker. I've not heard of that. Science fiction is awesome because most of it is humanistic, but the rich keep exploiting the aesthetics only. Yep. My grandpappy didn't run shine for me to lick some boots. Oh. From your mouth to God's ear. Oh. Yes. Day 3,459 of asking for a bookshelf index. Maybe someday. Holy shit, my camera is so dark. Look how grainy it is, too. I think it is automatically adjusting the ISO. Oh my god, I've been meaning to ask this. Mariana wants to be Trump so bad. You know, it's a thing I say about most bad people are just like fundamentally miserable people. But I'm not so sure about Trump. I think that he's generally pretty satisfied. You know, he has to do awful things in order to remain satisfied, and he's reached a sort of zen about that. And I think that may be the aspect of MAGA that needs to perhaps be addressed, and the thing that I don't think can be done at scale. Trump can do what he does and be satisfied with it, but the reason that MAGA exists is because all of MAGA imagines themselves as like him, or someday being like him. That, like, wouldn't it be great if you could just be a complete asshole to every single person in your entire life and expect them to give you all their shit with no consequences? That's what Trump represents to them, you know? I've been meaning to ask this, what the hell is up with neo-Nazis seemingly proudly embracing the loser aesthetic? Is it their idea of cultural rebellion against the woke left? Yes, that's exactly what it is. That's correct. Yes. Again, the mainstream, oh man, what did I say before? Something about like, it's a culture without a referent. I don't remember, but like our understanding of what is high culture and low culture, highbrow and lowbrow, is just completely fucking scrambled because of the current political situation. Like, MAGA is claiming to simultaneously be the elite, and also, you know, the hard scrabble, uneducated working class. And these are two incompatible qualities, you know? So many right-wing talking heads have unlistenable voices. Yeah, for real. Not my first one. I got arrested for shining in West Virginia during COVID. You're the best. I'm so glad you're here. Civil War was actually really good. You just don't get it. Oh no, it's too much. Oh no. It's too apolitical. Man, I just want politics and everything. That's why I don't like Civil War. Why didn't it say Orange Man bad? This game where you dismantle spaceships in a zero-G working under shitty corporations takes a lot musically from the Great Depression. Ooh, that sounds cool. What's that called again, Cthulhu? I want to add it to my tabs so I can look it up later. Author of the novel The Terror. Wrote an interesting sci-fi series called The Hyperion Cantos. Yes, I've heard of that. Uh-huh. I don't know anything about it, but I've heard of it. I know it's a thing that exists. Seeing a lot of turning on Trump out here in the South and Northwest. Good. I expect nothing less. Fuck's sake. I know, you know, ignorance is forgivable. It's extremely dangerous and shouldn't be tolerated, but it is forgivable. Especially considering that we're in a culture that's been, like, you know, the right wing has been studiously and patiently and carefully dismantling the entire education infrastructure of this country for the past 40 years. So ignorance is forgivable. I do not believe that this is a country primarily full of people who are bad and want bad things and actually hate this country, because MAGA, like the MAGA ideology, hates this country. Every single thing that is decent about America, in theory, they hate it and they want it gone. Yeah, we should have completed Reconstruction and actually kicked out all the Confederates. It was our mistake, and we should have done it again after World War II. We had many opportunities to, like, nip this in the bud and make sure it didn't metastasize, and we failed to do that. So Trump should not be that funny for such an evil man. I know. He should be just an insult comic, you know. It could have been legendary. Could have had a very healthy career, and the world would be a better place. Remember being asked during an interview, what do I like about sci-fi? I said as a kid I liked the space battles. As a high school, college kid, I enjoyed the optimistic outlook on humanity and technology. And as a freelance, unemployed adult, a survivalist guide for our hyper-capitalistic dystopia. Yeah. MAGA just wants Middle Ages with technology and apartheid, basically steampunk. Yes, exactly. That, and again, like, this is why there's they dovetail so well right now, so far, with tech bros who also want Middle Ages with technology and apartheid, basically steampunk, because they have no imagination at all and can only conceptualize of the future in terms of sci-fi. Uh-oh. I had to click on a link to fuck off. Oh, good. I'm getting an anti-Mamdani ad. Wouldn't it be great if he beat Cuomo? See, this is like... This shit's ridiculous. Like, it's number 3 on the checklist of things that the mainstream left needs to understand, which is that most people are farther left than they are. Those are the policies that people want, and it's doing nobody any favors to posture as like so much more sophisticated and so much more knowledgeable than the common rabble who doesn't know anything about politics or how to get anything done. And it's like, none of this is that complicated. You know, providing healthcare for people isn't that complicated. Other countries do it all the time. Like, figure it the fuck out and stop being such defeatists, you know? I thought Civil War was going to be a bad movie, but now I've seen the whole thing and Alex Garland should be shot in the head. Nazis don't get laid. They have also learned to hate women. There's an alt-right pipeline that starts with the male loneliness epidemic. Yeah, of course. Absolutely. I'll never not make fun of your hatred for Civil War. That's okay. You're perfect liberty to do that. Hampton, do you like Civil War? My goodness. Hard space shipbreaker. Yes, okay. I'm gonna pull that up. Hard space shipbreaker. Will you stream when you get deployed to the Middle East to fight for oil? No, I'm fleeing to Mexico. Also, I'm too old. I'm already, like, you know, me and my family coming up with a sort of, like, initial sketch outline of a plan to figure out how we're going to get to Mexico, and how logistically that's going to go if there aren't elections in 2 years, because that is a very real possibility. So Sartre said the conception of the Nazis were simultaneously the elite and the vermin, the corollary to it being that the Nazis were vermin and elite in turn. Yeah, absolutely. Echo says that also in Neurofascism. And I say it too, no big deal. In the Sound of Freedom video. But yeah, it's crazy how, like, the entire thrust of the MAGA ideology is like, oh, the deep state, oh, corruption, oh, all they want is money. It's like, oh. It's crazy how much they project what the right wing is actively and openly admitting to doing onto the left. It's absolutely fucking insane. Now I just want to be happy, yeah. Don't rank Cuomo. Required readings for all Americans of People's History of the U.S., Manufactured Consent, and Prisoners of Geography. Embarrassingly, I've only read Manufactured Consent. Ugh. Man, this is a healthy Thunder lead. You'll love to see it. 46-61. They have not been under the entire game. Yes, this is what I like. It's a less exciting game than the Friday game, but man, they learned. They saw their mistakes on Friday and corrected them. Holy shit. As a New Yorker, I hate that man so goddamn much, as is proper. We got free healthcare and public education here in Mexico and in most Latin American countries. Keep losing Americans. Yeah. Oh no. I actually hate Civil War. Okay, well then. It's fine. It's fine. I appreciate any opportunity I get to talk about that movie. At some point, it hasn't happened yet, but at some point someone will accuse me of a fixation on Alex Garland that he lives rent free in my head, and that's absolutely true. You know, the opposite of love is indifference. I take a great interest in Alex Garland's career because I have very confused feelings about his work. Oh, a 3? Nice. Hell yes. Not only does Alex Garland not care about war, journalism, or America, I don't think he knows what a photo is. I think that's literally the case. Proud of where I'm from, but not too proud of how far we've come. I also know the South does tend to be a huge victim to capitalism. Yeah, and a lack of infrastructure and education. The amount of federal tax dollars, red states take from blue states, like that. This is not even a controversial point. Everybody knows that, you know. Everybody knows that red states contribute far less to national coffers than blue states do, because blue states tend to have the cities. Like, if every state was just a country, almost every red state would be immediately rendered a third world country. I think that's one of the few cool things about being in a colony. There's such a broad mix of architectural heritages. Yeah. It's sad, it's tragic, but it is also interesting, yeah, for sure. A lot to look at. At least Alex Garland isn't directing 28 days later, or years later, yeah. If you come for political asylum, we should get in touch and discuss Mexican history. I will teach you the ways of the... You know I have family there, right? But I would very much like to do that, yes. I would like to have some more contacts in Mexico and friends in Mexico, especially if I end up having to seek asylum there. You're probably from a different Mexico than the one I'm sort of accustomed to anyway, so I accept your offer. I was rewatching The Deaths from The Fall of the House of Usher, and I realized I'm kind of a Mike Flanagan hater. Ooh, hot take. I like Mike Flanagan a lot. Or at least he needs to stop making adaptations that are half adaptation, half original work. I don't have a problem with that at all. Really. That's completely okay with me. They're all corrupt, said the guy who accepted a $400 million jet. Yep. Now you say that, Thunder will lose. It's possible, but I don't think that's how fate works. I keep trying to explain this to my boyfriend. Because I keep saying things like, I never get pulled over. And he's like, oh, don't say that. That's not how fate works. I think it's funny that the people who are fear-mongering the most about the deep state are like cabinet members. Brother, you represent the state. I know. And like, this is what I'm saying. Like, you can't follow a grift to its end, you know, just definitionally, because a grift is a lie. And once you are in a position to make good on the promises that you've been issuing, like, you know, shit, who's that, fuck, what's her name? That chick who murdered her daughter in Florida. What is her name? Oh my God, I have to know. It's like Kaylee, I don't know. God, there's so many child murders in Florida. God damn it. She was in the news mostly just because she was kind of hot. And let's say Casey Anthony, yes, thank you. So Casey Anthony kept telling the cops that she worked at Disney. like at the Disney World administrative offices, and she sustained this. She kept claiming that she worked at Disney, and then the cops were like, okay, why don't you, you know, that was her alibi, was that she was at work. She works at Disney. And the cops were like, well, why don't we come just like just come show us your office, show us what you're talking about. And she led them to the Disney offices. She went inside, she walked, and then finally she reached you know, a hallway and was like, I don't work here. Like, that's the state we're at. Like with Kash Patel and Bongino in the FBI, like the drumbeat they've been the drumbeat of like, the Epstein files, the JFK assassination, like all this conspiracist bullshit. You are the FBI now. And what's happening? They're not saying anything about it because they're like, oh, well, you'll be disappointed. Oh, you'll be disappointed about the J6. You know, like they're super cagey about what is available to release, and why they can't do it because there's nothing there. You know, it's exactly the same thing about waste, fraud, and abuse, and inefficiencies in government, and you know, how much money that's being funneled through to corrupt ends, and it's just not the case. You know, it's just not the case. The American government is actually pretty efficient. Civil War and Sound of Freedom will be your legacy, I fear. Our world's worst legacies. No commentary video for Warfare. I did hear he's making the Elden Ring movie. I'm not happy about it. I did write a review of Warfare that I actually think is pretty good. No big deal. I considered making it a video, but I'm still trying to get into an article writing habit. But yeah, it's on Substack if you want to see my thoughts about Warfare. At least Oklahoma uses blue state money to fund free preschool. It's just like, I don't know what these people think is going to happen if there's no blue state money you know, to fund all their shit. There's a scene in Minecraft movie where the camera completely centers on a bottle of cologne, so it's like, okay, a product placement ad, but then the main character sprays it on and says it smells like poop. So I don't know what to believe. What? So this is what I'm saying. We have no basis for cultural identity. It's not good. It's not a good place to be. Yes, I know. Elden Ring. Shit, I'm very late. You are very late, but yeah, I'm probably gonna hop off here in about 15 minutes or so. But you didn't miss anything about the game because the game is not working. So we beat the game. It's an advertisement for Cologne, the region in France. Oh. I still haven't seen the Minecraft movie. I have nothing to contribute. I'm from the Mexico that's like the pit of hell, and I know my way around it all. Yes, we are besties. IDC. Excellent. We're on the same page. I also think me watching your stream is actively helping OKC win, and I should actually tune out. You know, they're performing pretty well in the past 2 games that I've watched. Just saying, I may be a good luck charm. The grift is like a rainbow. It's an optical illusion that dissipates when you try and shift points of view. That's nice. That's very evocative, Hampton. Well done. Every time I read OKC, I think you're talking about OK Cupid. That's interesting. A cultural difference. I could never read anything with OKC as prominent letters and think anything but Oklahoma City. Hi.
Oh, you're watching.
Yeah. They're winning. I know her search history is cursed. Yep. Yep, culture war is something you run on and don't deliver on because in reality it's stupid and nobody actually wants it. It doesn't fucking work. Yeah, see, this is what I'm saying. Don't be doomers. Don't don't black pill yourself. It's gonna be okay. But it's only gonna be okay if we can manage to remain hopeful and avoid being doomers. Floridians try not to commit crimes against humanity, please. One Florida crime that sticks in my head is from a few years ago. 2 Florida dads got into a driving gunfight over road rage, and they shot and wounded each other's kids. Perfect. Perfect Florida crime, yes. Shout out to the JCS Criminal Psychology channel for that. Excellent channel. I'm a frequent viewer, yes. Literally compulsive lying is a political strategy. Yeah, it's like the reason Trump thinks he's such a great negotiator is because of how non-committal he is. Like, he thinks that because he is devoid of any kind of consistent ideology, that means that he's like, ooh, he's constantly floating. Ooh, he's in the wind. Ooh, what'll he do next? Like, he can't commit to anything, and he thinks that's a strength. You know, he thinks that's what makes him a great deal maker, because he's willing to put anything up for sale. Oops, all vibes. Nothing like pan-fried ham and a Coors Light. Hell yeah, brother. Also a JCS fan, even though some of the psychology stuff borders on just a theory. Yeah, it's that kind of like, you know, dilettante, enthusiastic amateur kind of stuff that always makes me feel like a little bit squicky. Like, oh no, this is where people are getting their actual information from. Oh God. Your Substack is lying lively on the floor. I've been busy, okay? This Sunday, I will write something. That's what I have on my work schedule, and that is what I'm committing to. No blue state money equals balkanization. Exposing some of the interrogation tactics and ways they manipulate the detained person is very interesting, if a little terrifying. Oh yeah, for sure. The warfare credits were utterly bizarre, kind of old-fashioned, in an interesting kind of way. It's very much in the tradition of kind of honestly the same kind of fixation and fetishization of realism that Disney is doing with their live-action remakes. You know, where it's like, isn't a story just that much more impactful and meaningful and important if it really happened, you know? Schindler's List does it. The clicking of animal claws on hardwood. Yeah, I don't love it when I'm sleeping, but I'll miss it when it's gone. Stop complimenting my sentences, it's so unlikely. Just play Big Iron in the background. We can pretend that Fallout New Vegas is working. Basically the same stream if you're listening only. They're so excited for OKC winning. I know. Ooh. Their lead is narrowing, but we'll see. They're still 10 ahead. Matched with an NBA electric chemistry, call that OKC Thunder. In case you can't get New Vegas fixed, what game is next? I'll get it fixed, but Subnautica is the next game, no matter what. Can we nuke Oklahoma? No, prairie chickens live there, and they're funny. Miss my family dog, gotta go visit. Gotta go pet your dog, it's important. My people are prepared for the absolute worst. I guess you can guess I will fight a cop. I'd expect nothing less. Some goddamn playlist I sent you, Become a True Mexican from the 90s and 2000s. Hampton, send it to me again. Send it to me again, please. Finance pros have been bullying him for this non-committal strategy, like the snake eating itself just keeps taking longer than I expect. I know. Yeah, well, that's what happens when your ideology doesn't require any consistency at all. You're like extending your runway, but you're still going to crash into a wall eventually, you know? Still on Substack, or did you move writing platforms? The next article I write will be on Ghost, and every subsequent article will be on Ghost. May I ask a dumb question? You may. I'll allow it. Got a lot done today. Played with my son, fixed my sister's zero-turn mower, pickled and canned some okra, and picked the squash and potatoes out of the garden. That's a great day. My beans are going crazy. I also, my cantaloupe vine is also going insane. I've got a couple little baby cantaloupes on it, and it's full of flowers. It's very exciting. I'm excited for cantaloupes. I once got so fucking high I watched Judas and the Black Messiah in sound only. I hallucinated peak Kino. Does Mexico have any figures that got whitewashed like MLK? That's a good question. I don't know the... Okay, yeah, there we go. Literally all our historical figures are whitewashed and conservative coded. Nice. I was going to say that's a question for Hampton. And he delivered. I believe it. Mm-hmm. Certainly conservative coded. That doesn't surprise me at all. Still very much a culture that fetishizes masculinity in a really unhealthy, awful way. Do you think you'll be spooked by Subnautica? You'll 100%, yes. Undoubtedly. I'm very excited. I do have thalassophobia. But, you know, this whole venture, this whole channel is partly a project of self-development. I cannot stop thinking about things that disturb me, so I work through them on camera. Fear is an opportunity, you know? You've been confronted with something you don't understand. That's a good opportunity to learn something new, isn't it? Prairie chickens can survive a couple nukes. Buddy, they can't even survive modern capitalism. My favorite kind of historical fiction centers on fictional characters that live through history rather than famous and usually rich political figures. Yeah. I see that. You've received the playlist on Instagram. Okay. Okay. I'll go sifting through my... It's just, like, if you could send it... if you could DM it to me on Discord, that'd be ideal. Because I will go sift through my Instagram DMs, but they can get a little crowded. And I am kind of viscerally afraid of getting too far into the DMs. Not because I expect anything bad to come of it, but just because if I start, I then have to continue. And it becomes kind of a chore. So somewhere I can read both the Twitch and YouTube chats combined aside from the on-screen chat. That's a good question. I don't have any idea. It works for me through Restream. That's all I know. Mariana is one bad day away from building a bunker. I don't have money to build a bunker. Do you think I haven't built a bunker yet because I don't want to? Come on. My watermelon is almost ready. I'm excited. Ooh, that is exciting. I have a watermelon. I have 2 watermelon plants. One I planted from seed, and it's really struggling. I have another cantaloupe plant I planted from seed, but the watermelon and cantaloupe starts that I bought from the garden center are going insane. Very exciting. Hampton the Mexican, yes. Spent the day returning and recovering from a music festival, Northlands in New Hampshire. That sounds nice. Woody Guthrie is blasting in my barn right now. I have a laptop in here. I'm watching you on. I love that. All right, Hampton, I got your message. I'll approve your friend request. There are many things I really, really dislike about the internet, but I do enjoy thinking about the places everybody who encounters me is watching me from. Not to get like fucking sappy about it, but the internet at its best is a good tool for connection. I hate to say it. That last has a phobia. Genuinely could not get past the first section of Subnautica. The thalassophobia is so bad. Oh my god. Don't threaten me with a good time. I just want to say you're very good at keeping like 5 different conversations in my head at the same time because you're handling being like a minute late on chat very well. Good. Well, that's good. Subnautica didn't scare me as much as Soma did. Yeah, I'd like to play more horror games on stream. I think that'd be fun. I could add Soma to the list. I would also... Mortuary Assistant is the horror game I cannot play alone. Mortuary Assistant. I snorkeled off the coast of Guatemala near where the continental shelf drops off. The water gets immediately colder and you only see void. I turned around right away. Yeah, there are certain certain moments in Sea of Thieves that give me serious thalassophobia. What a good game. Super fun. Requesting a Discord DM as a 30-plus-year-old is so fucking funny. Well, what would you prefer that I requested? It's one thing that I have learned from all my dissertation interviews that people are using Discord in place of Facebook now, basically, which I think is interesting. It's like we're regressing to message boards because social media is just like incapable of fulfilling its own directive, but we can't get rid of it because everybody is on the website. Like, it's the blue sky problem. Like, you can construct a competitor and it might be better, but you're competing against a system that has the benefit of time and the benefit of a critical mass of people that that at least provides something of the, like, a, you know, sort of a I don't know, a form of the thing you're looking for in social media. In that way, social media is kind of unlike any other industry or business model. And I think that's something that we should probably come to terms with in the future. You know, social media, I don't think should be completely a federal project, but it should be like heavily regulated, and it's hard to talk about because we haven't come up with like good ideas for what regulating social media would even look like. That those ideas tend to come from, like, you know, ancient senators and representatives who don't know what the fuck they're talking about, who aren't, you know, media scholars, or certainly not new media scholars, and don't know, they're not sociologists and they don't know what they're doing. We need to acknowledge the fact that social media is not some, you know, it's not some kind of like sorcery, you know, like we can sit and analyze it in terms that will make us understand it better. It's not that hard, and we should take that knowledge and turn social media into something pro-social. Hot take, I know. I was drunk recently. I DM'd Kendrick Lamar asking him to come to New Zealand. He seems like the type to at least ask an assistant to read his Instagram DMs. Didn't know there was a server. I've officially joined it. Fuck yeah, good. Sometimes I regret that server, but we started doing movie nights, and that's fun. What is going on in the chat right now? Why are we talking about Mongolia? Tom Cruise, I don't recognize you. Welcome. Maybe you've been here before. I'm very, very bad with names, especially if I don't have a face to pair them with. Sorry, I'm spamming chat. You're not spamming chat. You're fine. Buddies went home and I'm bored and not done drinking for the night. Started out with some strawberry moonshine. Woo! I made to help with the migraine. Now I'm drinking. I think I've told this story on stream before, where when I worked at the fish store, I would bring my lunch with me, and once I brought a bag of strawberries and I left them at work for a few days, and I basically made my own strawberry moonshine on accident. I left them at work for a few days, and then I brought them home and left them on the counter for another few days, and then they weren't moldy or anything, so I ate them and got a little buzz. They're really yummy. Tomorrow it's back to being foreman, boss man. It's exhausting. Hey, but you fended off ice, and that's no small thing. You should be proud. Recently got into the science behind autopsies since like a specter has taken hold of me. Isn't it great to discover a new special interest? Have you ever played Alien Isolation? I have not. Can you send me an OKC Thunder DM? What are you talking about? What do you mean? Mortuary Assistant actually made me viscerally afraid. I don't know why. Maybe it was because I played it around Halloween. I just let the immersion happen. Ooh. Maybe I need to play this game. Mortuary Assistant. Add it to the tabs. Okay, I gotta scroll faster through the chat. Not just jump scares are creepy, but yeah. You and another streamer are the only social media content creators I watch. How nice. I'm very happy you're here. It wouldn't be the same without you, Hamden. Who's the other person you watch? Nothing much. What's a Thunder DM with you? I was deployed on a ship in the Mediterranean for months in 2006, and we got to swim in the middle of the sea one day. I think somewhere approaching the mouth of the Suez Canal. It's really cool. That sounds really cool. Social media should be owned by animal sanctuaries, and changes should occur entirely at random. They should be, attached to like a toucan who's given a selection of treats every day with some options for choices of changes to make to social media, and we should change social media primarily on what the toucan chooses. You know why? I think every Thunder game that happens at home, I think being a home game for the Thunder specifically must give them like a 10% power buffer, you know? Thunder is extremely important to that city. And they make it known. Heard someone say social media should be more like public parks. Yeah. I don't mean the people at the animal sanctuaries, I mean the animals. Okay, cool. We're on the same page. I'm so happy. The server's cool. At least y'all seem curious. Yeah, that's my goal. I don't know. Sometimes like little fights break out in the Discord server, and I don't like having to manage those. But they're pretty few and far between. I just want everybody to be happy. The biggest concern I have with the shift to Discord is that they are isolated knowledge bases that cannot be archived like Game Banshee or other amazing forums from the early 2000s. So gaming Discords with walkthroughs, patch notes, fixes, etc. are exclusive and can disappear in an instant. Replace a game knowledge base with any other knowledge base. I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it. I don't think you're overthinking it. I think that is a problem with Discord. It's I mean, I said we're regressing back to message boards, and I should have been more specific. We're regressing back to message boards, but removing all the things that make message boards like a good archive and an interesting sort of snapshot in time. It's really, really important. That used to be the case that people would say, it's a line in the fucking social network, you know, that like the internet isn't written in pencil, it's written in pen. That isn't the case at all anymore. I'm not sure how much the case it ever was necessarily, but it certainly was considered to be the case at some point, you know. That like the things you do on the internet matter. Now they don't matter at all. I mean, I think they'll matter in the long run, but like culturally, now they don't matter. Doesn't matter what you do on the internet. They're simultaneously like complete concentrations of everything you are as a human being, and also not to be taken seriously. It's just yet another like internal inconsistency that cannot last. It's not sustainable. Oh, Tom Cruise cruises from Mongolia. That's sick. I like Mongolia very much. At least I like what I know about Mongolia. My understanding is that they keep a lot of the like old traditions and but update them with like like modern technology. So you see my favorite photos on the internet are like, you know, Mongolian hunters on horseback in you know, whatever traditional cultural garb it is that they have, with like a GPS, you know. I love that shit. Social media was the first industry to integrate AI into their platforms because they both do the same thing, invent information without any oversight or regulation. Pretty much. Drinking game where chat takes a shot every time she has a tab. You should. I won't discourage it. Got these blue lights that kill mosquitoes and have candles that do the same thing. My barn is free of those pests. Very nice. Attached to that one goldfish that made money on the stock market, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And toucans are so cute. And, I mean, name a more whimsical animal, you know? Thunder is the only home arena that wears those shirts. It's very good that they do. It is very good that they do that. Very color coordinated. Thunder, I mean, there's no more collectivist sports fan community than Thunder fans. Woodpecker-based social media where the only tweets are the rough Morse code translations of their pecking. There's an electric eel that tweets every time it shocks. Yeah, I missed that account. See, that's the kind of shit that just isn't on Blue Sky. Just because it hasn't been around long enough, and because Blue Sky was not conceived in a culture where people were hopeful about things like microblogging, you know. Discords are also a breeding ground for really toxic echo chambers. Of course. Of course. It's another thing that I try very hard and I'm very conscious, try very hard to avoid, and I'm very conscious of trying to discourage, yeah. Anybody here ever had deer? I've never had deer jerky. Bison jerky for sure, but never deer jerky. I've had lots of practice having debates, not escalating them into like fights, but every Discord is tightrope until you get enough clout for people. Yeah, there's a whole like political etiquette system in Discord where like there's somebody in my Discord server, Milk Money, if you've been there a while, though they have since changed their name to something I don't remember. I just always think of them as Milk Money. And they had a really eloquent post like last year or something. I've got it bookmarked because I think I might cite it for the dissertation, where he like they like laid out this entire like I think they go by they. I think laid out this entire like point system of political etiquette on Discord of like, you know, that you have to establish yourself as a member of the community in order to get a pass for certain hot takes, you know, and you can't just like, you know, you can't just airdrop yourself into a conversation and act like you're the same as somebody who's consistently contributing to conversations over the course of weeks or months. I don't do that. I'm not a regular contributor to any Discord server other than my own. I think this is the same reason I'm not especially good at tweeting. I think it's kind of a similar talent, similar impulse. I don't know. I've been in Discord server breakups that were worse than my parents' divorce. Yeah. I mean, it's just that people forget that just because Discord is like more intimate, that people forget that it's still social media, and this is still a mediated conversation, and it's not gonna, you cannot approach it in the same way you would approach any other person to person interaction of similar intimacy, you know. Mongolians are cooking with the domesticated horses. I feel like right-wing Southerners tend to be leftist. Feel like to be a leftist requires them to lose their identity of Southern man. Yeah, I agree. I think that. Shout out to you for having a window unit. Yeah, I've got 2. We also don't have central AC. I also live in a trailer. We've got 1 extra window unit that I think I keep meaning to put in our bedroom. I was hoping to leave it off the window because it's such an eyesore, you know, and I really like the view from my bedroom. But I think we're gonna have to put it in. It's just getting too hot. The one account that only announces when the cat leaves and enters the house. Yes. Goodbye, Bunvito friendly own. Problem with Blue Sky is there is a severe lack of quality shit posts. Yes. Check the link I sent you. It's peak Bieber. Why do I want to watch a Bieber video? Fine, I'll scroll up. 1 second.
You're not getting it. It's not clocking to you. It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business, is it?
Behind the sidewalk,
I don't give a fuck if you're on the sidewalk. I'm a human being. You're standing around my car. At the beach. You know what I'm saying? You don't think I'm a real fucking guy, do you? You're not getting it. It's not clocking to you. It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business, is it?
Behind the sidewalk,
I don't give a fuck if you're on the sidewalk. I'm a human being. You're standing around my car. At the beach. You know what I'm saying? You don't think I'm a real fucking guy, do you? You're not.
Jesus. Yeah, I'm standing on business is memeable. Damn. I've familiarized myself in the Discord pretty well, pretty fast, if I say so. Yeah, I think you have. She didn't even a regular contributor to her job. Oh no. Hampton, you're such a great jester. You keep me humble. Oh, God damn it. Stream died. Not my stream, the stream that matters. The game stream. Still healthy lead, 10 minutes left. I live on hot takes, and I always just pop in and disagree with people, and it tends to go poorly. When I have to do that the proper way and be able to make my actual intentions clear. I think that in hot takes and expansion of other people's ideas, but in the past year I've learned that most people don't make like philosophical claims that are open for debate. Real learning curve. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people gotta, and like this is also a problem with the internet being a place largely populated, or at least like the really active parts of the internet. God, I'm trying to say this in a way that's not going to be like offensive, because I really don't mean it offensively. What I'm trying to say is that like the internet is a really, really good place for people who are socially uncomfortable, you know, who don't especially have the best social skills. And this is a place where people in, you know, in such situations, I include myself. I don't think I have awesome social skills. I don't think I would, I think my social skills have improved because I've got a, you know, doctorate in communications, and it'd be pretty weird if I didn't, you know something about how to communicate with people. But I think people discount the fact that the internet is, again, not the same as communicating in real life with people, and it's not different in a way that is just beneficial to you. You know, it's also different in a way that is detrimental. You are also missing a lot in communication on the internet that you would not miss in real life. And unfortunately, some of the things you're missing are the same things that make you socially uncomfortable. I don't think it's a good thing to give people a living situation that affords them too much comfort or convenience. And I think we're learning that now. I think that's, you know, part of the reason our situation in my country is so fucked up is I think because people are just overly domesticated, you know. We are so completely detached from the material reality of our world and what it takes to sustain our lifestyle, you know. That can't go on forever. Oh yeah, Thunder in trouble, being ahead an entire game with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and you think 8 points is very comebackable. Okay, well, whatever helps you feel better. When I said the stream doesn't matter, I that was self-deprecating. It wasn't deprecating to you people. I've been timed out from Twitter so many times for saying people should permanently alter their oxygen intake. The line does not concern itself with social interactions. We're also missing so many other physical social cues when we talk about when we talk through text/voice that we don't realize are important to get the vibes. Yeah, super, super important. I don't know, we've talked about this before, but like on stream, but it's like yet another lesson that we're learning in the painful way in real time, that the promise of social media is that it's going to make all human communication more efficient and more effective, and that removing everybody's identitarian characteristics and the way they speak and cues of body language and cues of linguistic patterns and whatever, like all the things that all the qualities that together sort of contribute toward the formation of a person instead of just a screen name. These things are actually important factors in communication. They are not just like, flotsam, and communication is not made better by removing them. It's actually made a lot worse. They don't seem to care about your lead, the Pacers. I don't know. I'd say they care quite a bit, if I had to guess. What do you mean, you people? Luckily, I can sustain my own lifestyle. It's how I was raised. So many people don't even know where their food comes from. I know. Don't I know it? That's why people take mood tags so personally. Yeah. Totally. Emojis don't have the sauce hand gestures. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, what does it say about the communicative power of the internet and text-based communication, instantaneous text-based communication, that we have to amend it with like hieroglyphs that represent a human expression, Can't clock that. I'm standing on business. Pacers better from behind. You don't want to open up yourself for a your mom joke that way. Note all. The only reason I'm not doing it is because I like you and I'm polite. Good night, Spooky. Shofar kills. What is that? Explain, please. What is what? The headphones staying in for 3 hours with no sound is just killing me. I've got the game on. A lot of people found tone indicators annoying until they realized they're super helpful. Yep. Also, millennials have a secret tone indicator. It's adding LOL or LMAO at the end to show informality. Absolutely. That's what I do instead of punctuation. Isn't it weird how, like, it's so interesting to me that, like, in the absence of any cultural indicators, in a situation where we were told that we were going to be, like, completely in completely blank slate mode, and all our communication was going to be up to us and only us, and we didn't have to worry about all of this, like, residual cultural and it's like, in the absence of all that residual cultural stuff, we just made new ones. We can't stop. Human beings can't stop making culture. It's what we do. We have to make meaning out of shit. The lead is narrowing, but it's still comfortable. Oh, good night, Carlos. Thanks for being here. Oh, what are tone indicators? Yeah. Okay. Somebody gotcha. The internet has cooked us, huh? Yes, it has. This whole YouTube video about how basically ethos and pathos do not work rhetorically if the other person doesn't know you personally. Yeah. And people on the internet would basically never get the chance to actually do that. So that's like, oh, yes, exactly. Yes. Oh, God. What is that video? Could you please link it in the chat? I should very much like to go watch it later. Yes. That's exactly correct. Imagine typing like this. How jolly. It is not fun at all. Yep, another tab. And we got on this to get my news, listen to music, and watch this stream. Fuck yeah. Spend most of my time outside, whether it's in the water, in the woods, or the prairie. Your life sounds great. You're kicking Ice's ass. You're eating deer jerky. You're in the garage. Drinking a beer. I love it. Yay, homework. May I get the Discord link? If you navigate to the stream channel on YouTube, it is in the description. You can also access it by I've tried posting the Discord link in the chat, and it just doesn't work for whatever reason. Like Discord just wigs out. So yeah, you can get it in the stream channel description. Oh god, this is sleet is narrowing. I don't like it. Ooh, it's starting to sweat. See how fun it is to just yap on stream. It's pretty fun, I must say. You can also get the Discord by paying me $3 on Patreon. Supposed to do some similar shit about nature and go kayaking for a summer class tomorrow, but it's gonna rain. Sad day. Life may not be simple soon. Yep. These Nazis are getting ballsy. But I'm happy there's people like you. And myself. News economy too title as a Patreon sub. Yeah. All good. I'm never offended when people drop their Patreon sub. Pantsmaster, where's that video? Cyberbullying her into completing her tasks, and I won't see it. You'll see it on Saturday, don't worry. Thank you. I also think it's a pretty good script. One of my better ones. I'm once again a proletarian. I know the feeling. Ooh. Oh, shit. Oh, God. Was that a foul? I don't know. This is what it's come to. Just me silently reacting to the Thunder game. On stream. I'll have New Vegas fixed before next time. Have you watched the new Mission Impossible? I've not, no. I just have such vanishing interest in movies like Mission Impossible. They're all the fucking same, you know? Especially the recent ones. Like a big iron was felt. Okay. There's pizza waiting for me. The only reason I'm still here is because I want that video. That video that Pantsmaster promised me. Mission is impossible. He completes it every time. No, Tom Cruise runs to different places in each one. Yeah. Oh, I can just DM it to you somewhere if you need to go. Yeah, Pensmaster, are you in the Discord server? You certainly should be. It's 10 p.m., y'all. I gotta eat. I'm hungry. God, look how dark it is in here. I gotta fix my camera for next time, too. We're still good. 95 to 103. Oh, I hope that was the second free throw, not the first. Yes, indeed, this was my very first just chatting stream. Pantsmaster actively sweating. I can ping you when I find it. Okay, sick. I don't go to sleep early. My night's just beginning, I'm afraid. Just to watch the little fella run. His tiny legs do go so fast. Oh, bless his heart. You know what I've noticed? My camera was not celebrating Pride Month this evening. It did not go gay a single time. What's that about? Just can't handle, OBS can't handle too much at once, I guess. Yeah, Pantsmaster, please post that video in the YouTube channel and tag me in it. I would very much like to see it. Cough it up, Pantsmaster. Oh, she never sleeps. She says she will never die. I've been toying with the idea of recording an audiobook of Blood Meridian. Maybe for some, I don't know. I'd have to. That's quite a undertaking. I'd have to figure out some kind of reason, but I think that'd be fun. Very nice to hear from you again, Prima. It was a great stream. Thank you, Hampton. It was very nice to be here again. OBS is a reverse big corporations. It's homophobic once a month. Good stream, streamer. Good stuff, gamer, no game. Good. I am glad nobody was disappointed, and if they were disappointed, they didn't tell me, which is the same thing as far as I'm concerned. Out of sight, out of mind. Technically, there is the Thunder game, it's true. Which it appears they will be winning. Holy shit, 97 to 110 with 7 minutes left in the game. Holy fuck. Just let me make an audiobook out of the Bible. Okay, I'm gonna get out of here. I will see everybody on Thursday. By Thursday stream, say hi to the Morbid family for us. I shall. The video will be up on Patreon by Thursday's stream, and I will have New Vegas fixed. I'll make it happen. Yeah, fuck the Thunder. I understand. It's okay to be angry, Notrizal. It's okay to be mad. I get it. You're in your feelings. Good luck with your hose. Shofar kills.